Well, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. This is following on from the other day. Just as I have broken my axle, the recovery vehicle has just arrived. We're going to get it loaded up, get it home, and try and work out what the hell I've broken and see if it's something that's going to happen again, or if I'm going to need to do some upgrades. Well guys, it's actually 2 days after you last saw me in that other clip, but we now have the axle out of the parts car, which I'll show you in a second. But what I wanted to show you is this little thing, how, bulbs out, how well this diff works, because I was quite surprised. I'm in reverse, but I shouldn't be. I could hear it clunking. Yeah, so basically with the diff, I can't go backwards, but I can go forwards. Oh, she's in gear now. Yeah, and it still actually drives all right. I'm going to get a bit of speed up to go up this little hill. But yeah, she's actually going to let me drive in the shed. Good diff. All right, I need two hands to do the rest of it, so you'll see me once we've got it on the hoist. So let's have a proper look and see if we can see where, there it is, I can see it there. CV has decided not to be a CV anymore. Yeah, axle not spinning while the wheel spins. So we broke a CV, interesting. Well, I think it's a CV. We'll have a better look when we get it out, but yeah, it looks like the CV's just snapped. Good, I was worried I'd snap something in the diff, although that's pretty unlikely. Cool, well not cool, but could be worse. So the way I'm going to try and fix it today, and it is only a temporary fix, I have this left-hand axle out of the E90 parts car. When this video went live, somebody actually said that he did use the small housing axle with a large housing diff. Bit of a tongue twister. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So obviously the E90 parts car is a little bit older than mine, and it has got the large housing automatic diff where I've got the baby small thing. I'm going to try and see how close the axles are. From what I can tell, there's only a few millimeters difference between the small housing diff axle length and the large housing. So hopefully, well, if they look close enough, I'm just going to run it straight away. I think it's going to be possible, but it's going to be a bit of a, can you run? At least we'll work out how interchangeable they are in a temporary situation. Now, the reality is that I've got to do something to stop this from happening. Now, when we first, when we did that first 0 to 100 drive about a week ago, got massive axle tramp, and I actually noted it in the video that we got axle tramp. I think it was Jeraine, Jezza, and a few other people suggested getting a diff brace. I did order one, it's coming from the States, so it's going to be a while. Now, I never ever had axle tramp when it was open diff. This is something that's new with the LSD, bit annoying. I'm sure axle tramp contributed to the loads going through the axle and causing it to snap, although it wasn't actually axle tramping when it snapped, it was wheel spinning, but it wasn't going thud, 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 thud. And even this, with this axle tramp that this has been getting, it's nowhere near as bad as Declan's M2 gets. So I wasn't too stressed about it. It didn't feel like it was being particularly harsh on anything, but we'll see how we go once we get the diff brace. But I think I am going to have to get some upgraded axles of some sort. There's not a lot to choose from. It's pretty much M factory or drive shaft shop, both of which are really expensive. So we'll see how we end up, but we will have to get something sorted. A lot of guys suggested the M3 rear end. I would love an M3 rear end. Obviously, they're the strongest sort of axles and setup you can get. Maybe not the diff center, but the rest of it is. But unfortunately, they're just worth mega money. The last one I saw for sale in Australia was $5,000 for different axles. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, so we'll keep working with it. And I guess I gotta put the car back down to undo the nut. All right, so quick update. It's actually about 3 hours have passed, and that's my fault because I'm absolutely knackered lately. But we have access to the axle. So all I've taken off so far is the, well, rear section of the Miltech. Just 2 slip joints and a couple of the rubbers, and here we are. That is one benefit of having an aftermarket exhaust if you're doing axles. Alternatively, and what I had to do on the parts car, I had to actually drop the entire exhaust, which isn't too bad, but it's still a bit of messing around. You could, I suppose, undo the knuckles and get the shaft out that way, but this is the way I'm going to do it. So from this point, I'm going to undo the 6 Torx bolts, which are E12s, on the hub of the diff, and then we'll lower it back down and we'll crack the main nut on the outside. And hey, this should be out in 15 minutes. Let's see how we go. Oh, fuck, it's off. Okay. Oh, you're not even looking, sorry. So that is the axle. And, right, it's the actual axle that's snapped, not the CV. Let me see if I can get a rag. Clean break on the axle, it would seem. There we go. Well, I'm gonna get the rest of that CV joint out. Far out, snapped clean off. All right, I'll keep going. So just a quick update, got the wheel off and we've got to get this nut off. So I need to basically peel back those peened off edges. I'll get on with that. Hopefully I don't mess it up because I completely cooked the one I did yesterday. All right, I'll get that off and then we're gonna put the wheel back on to actually undo the nut. Okay, so hopefully you can see that all right. We've got the 2 sort of locked sections peened away, so we should be able to undo it. It is undone with a 36mm nut, and I'm probably gonna have to put the wheel back on and actually break a bar on the ground, but I thought I'll try it with a rattle gun first, so let's see how we go with the rattle gun. Woo! I did not expect that to come off with a rattle gun. Sweet. So now what we've got to do is bash that axle through. That looks like an aftermarket axle. I don't think that's genuine. Interesting. Yeah, all the other BMW axles I've seen, they've got a little divot in there. All right, so getting BMW axles out of hubs is always, well, not always, but a lot of the time it can be an absolute little biatch. So I'll put some WD on it, just penetrant to help start it going. I did just give it a tap with a hammer and a punch. I mean, just a tap, not an aggressive one. It's definitely stuck in there, but we've now got a system on how to get these out. So let me go get the special tools. So generally we'll do this with 2 people. And I know you're not supposed to hit 2 hammers together, but hey, we've got shit to do. Let's see how we go. Expected. Don't know if it's moved yet. That wasn't an overly aggressive hit. Definitely the best, most scientific way to do this. Ooh, that felt good. Give it another tap. That'll do. We are moving, ladies, but mainly gentlemen. I'll give it one really good hit and she'll probably be good to go. Boom! Oh, well that was less hassle than it could have been. Axle's out. Cool. So that is the rest of what we broke. So this is the bit I was interested in. How different are the small housing and big housing axles? Interestingly, this one is from my vehicle. It is the small diff housing axle and it has a bigger diameter than the big diff housing axle diameter. Actually, you know what? Let me grab a measuring device and we'll actually measure it. Keep in mind these axles are hollow tube. They're zeroed, so it's not like a piece of thick metal that's that bad. So very roughly measured, 38.3, and the other one is 35.4. So give or take 3mm thinner diameter, but again they are both hollow, so the diameter is not the be all end all because you don't know how hollow they are. Now off camera I actually just fully compressed both of them, and on the bench here there's no noticeable difference in length. So we've got the 2 lined up there. Actually I'll pop you guys so that you can see the length. Now this one, something else I've noticed, this joint at this end appears to be locked up. There's no play in it, where this one you can pivot it like a proper CV or uni joint, whatever it is. And we'll just line up the 2 ends. And of course this one as well, you can actually compress or extend the length. I'm going to sort of let it sit where it wants to sit, sort of neutral. We'll line it up there. So the big thing I'm concerned about is if this won't compress as much as this one, because if this is too long, we'll get binding issues. But I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure mine's supposed to be the shorter axle. So that's that there on the bit that broke off, I guess. And they're within millimeters of each other. I don't know if you can see that, but there's no tangible length difference when you butt them up. And of course this one will compress in further if need be, and it will extend further as well. So let's see if we can get it in the car. So the axle is in. I didn't film it because I did it the way you're not supposed to do it. I'll tell you what I've done, but I really wouldn't recommend doing it. Basically, got the axle up into the hub where it needs to be, and then I've belted it with a hammer, enough to get it through to get the nut on, and then I can tighten the nut up and pull it through. Now I've done a couple of axles that way, and you sort of, well, I've gotten away with it every time, but you do damage the back of the CV joint, and I know people have had issues where they've damaged wheel bearings or the CV joint like permanently. So really wouldn't recommend doing that. We've been saying we need to order the tool, well, since we were doing David's axles, and then you sort of think you'll get it when you need it, and then when you actually need it, you don't have the tool and you end up doing the wrong thing. So I'm gonna order the tool today so I don't ever have to do that again. And I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't this temporary fix that we're doing. So yeah, bashed it back in, reconnected here, and I think no binding. You can hear the brake pads rubbing, but that's normal. Yeah, so that's the large housing diff axle connected to the small housing diff without any issues. So it's good to know that you can sort of interchange them. Now they are obviously different. There's a reason they're different, but I think we might get away with it. Like I said, somebody in the comments has been doing it. He said his car's been set up for a few months, I think, without any issues. I'm gonna run with this until I work out my upgraded axle solution. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna go with a set of M factory axles. Looks like they had a bit of a iffy time when they first got released in 2016, but they have had some revisions to the product since 2016, so hopefully the new ones are better. They're not rated for huge power like the drive shaft shop ones, but it's going to be about 1600 Aussie to get a set of those M factory axles without waiting. It's about the same price as drive shaft shop, but I don't have to send my axles over, so I'll save like 150 bucks on postage and don't have to wait without, and I don't even think they'd better use that because it's snapped anyway. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with M factory. Got to get the diff brace on. There's a few things to do, but you know what I wouldn't mind doing? Actually starting it up whilst we've got one of the rear tailpipes off. We'll just see how loud it is like that, because I've been wanting to straight pipe this rear section for a while now, or even put some cutouts or something in, just get some noise out of it. So let's start her up and see what it sounds like. All right. That is only one muffler out. Obviously I've got a few clamps that are loose on the exhaust, which is why it might be rattling. It's not as loud as I thought it would be. It sounds angrier than it does with the mufflers. Yeah, we'll see. I think I've got cutouts in my future. While we're here and we've got the engine running, the other thing I wanted to do was just make sure that I can put the car into drive, let the rear end turn over, and we don't get any funny noises. So let's try that. Yeah, in drive. And I'm going to brake, which will load up the axles. Seem all right. I think we're getting away with that axle. All right. Let's lift it back up. So I think the axle swap is gonna work. Amazing. Well guys, there you go. You can interchange, well I'm saying you can. I'm gonna take the car for a drive once I've got the exhaust back on. The reason I'm not gonna film it, I kind of want to clean the exhaust. I know it sounds retarded, but it's actually stainless. I'm gonna have a crack at it, which is probably gonna take me 20 minutes, half an hour. But yeah, I'm gonna get it back together and I will take it for a drive. I'll edit this video tonight and I'll film another section actually if we have any issues when I take it for a drive. But if everything's smooth, the video will end off here. Just know that we've got the other axle in from the large housing diff with no issues yet, and I think it's gonna work. So there you go, it gives you a bit more junkyard options if anyone else is going through the same thing of breaking stuff. Yeah, happy with that. Cool, all right. Obviously, because of what's happened with that axle, I might hold off on any launches for a little while. In fact, I'm probably not going to do any until I've got the replacement axles for these axles here. Yeah, like I said, it will have a diff brace soon. I know I need to do all the suspension bushes. It's just a lot of money and I don't want to spend it at the moment. The car actually drives really good on the road. Like, it handles well. I don't need bushes for handling, but I may need them to sort out this axle tramp issue, which is just more expense. So it might just take a little while before we do it. But yeah, until then, what I might do, I'll get the diff brace on. That's coming, it was pretty cheap. I'll wait till I've got replacement axles ready to go in, and then we'll do some more launches and see if we can break another axle. And we'll see if the diff brace is enough to stop it at this sort of power level. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Probably rambled on a lot. And yeah, we'll end it off there. Thank you very much. Peace. Bonus clip, if you made it this far. This axle, which didn't snap, I don't know why I'm so good at that movement, but yeah, sounds like it's about to snap. Where this one, the one that's just come in, no play in it at all, nice and quiet. So we're probably on borrowed time with this one as well. Sounds like the CV joints have got play in them that shouldn't be there. Interesting. Anyway, all right, peace.